Hello, hello. Hello. It's me. Let's get started, I guess. Why not? Push me here. Give me one sec. Boom. He's done it. We're live. Give me one sec. We're live, but I'm actually still doing a thing on my own end. No, actually. Quit me the project list. Move my phone over here so it's no longer in the way. Okay, so we leaked at exit. That doesn't sound right. Does it still leak at exit when I run it just normally? Have I been missing that? No. Oh, that's weird. So it's like it opens stuff up and then just kind of leaks it anyways? Question mark. That's pretty weird. Let's get started. Oh look, it's Godot Rust. Ignore this. Puppeteer. Actually, bring me back to dev. I'm working on rewriting my project manager, but that's neither here nor there, although maybe one day. All right, select this. Yeah, my project manager rewrite is being done in Rust as opposed to pure GD scripts. Why am I doing it like that? I have no idea. I just thought it'd be a good idea. I just thought it'd be neat. Okay, so here, give me one sec. It still kind of freaks me out that people still start this repository. I don't really know why. It's no longer the same repository. Yeah, but there's nothing in it. Alright, actually, you know, while I'm looking at that right now, oh, and check this out. Huzzah! We're able to write Rust normally without having a reliance on an engine patch. Although, instead of needing an engine patch, you just need to compile some Rust stuff, which is not quite the same thing. Let me just see. Open CFace. Okay. I think this is what I'm going to do. Alright. So I'm going to grab all of this stuff. Bring it over to OpenCFace, which is the old repository at this point in time. Create a new folder called OpenCFace. Slap all of these folders or all of these files into there. OpenCFace doesn't actually need to come along. Although maybe it does, actually, yeah. Hold on, OpenCFace. Okay. So this is... I'm trying to remember. What's the difference between this and this? This is the compiled Windows version, or this is just the release version. Yeah, okay, it's all coming back to me. It's all coming back to me. Okay. Well, what does the release come with? So it comes with some Onyx models. There's the licenses. Okay, so you need the models folder and then the actual just release from OpenCFace as well. Okay, so I'll make a note. I'll make a note of that. You know what? We're gonna do that right now. Data. So OpenCFace and models. So we'll delete these. And actually, we'll look at the releases. What's in the releases? We'll give that a little look-see. What's inside of it? All right, undelete me. I don't quite remember. So this one is this not the, wait a minute, binary? Oh, it's in binary now, okay. I suppose it does make sense because I am using a very, very old version of OpenCFace. I'm using the, I don't remember which one I'm using. I'm using one of them. It's not this one. Although maybe I should be using this one because this one has everything you really need. And I thought I downloaded the correct one. Yeah, that's pretty weird. That's pretty weird. Yeah, see this one, if you just clone the repo, so if you were to like grab it as a git submodule, you would not have the binary folder. I suppose that's okay. So binary, I think this one should just be standalone. Yeah, we gotta think about that. Oh, hello, Stone Bee Studio. How are you? Oh, forgot I need to track this stuff myself. So models. All right, bum bum bum. Let me see. A Godot 3, it's like a package, not really a plugin. As a virtual puppet. Okay, one sec. OpenCFace GD, that's where I am. Here we don't need OpenCFace or models. Shh. What? Are you stalking wabbits? So you need to grab this. Step 1. Clone this repo. Step 2. Download the latest release from OpenCFace. Latest OpenCFace release. Grab the binary folder and folder that Windows that contains the compiled binary. Or I guess find the binary folder, right? Find the binary folder. Find the binary folder, rename it to OpenCface, copy it to, where is it? where am I copying it to? Copy it to OpenCface folder, OpenCface folder. Your folder here. Find the model folder called model. Is it called model or is it called models? Called models. Rename the binary folder to OpenCface. Copy both folders to, yeah, there we go. That's pretty much it. Yeah. And I don't need anything else from this. All right, so say goodbye. That's fine. So delete those, create a new empty document called copy folders here to this directory. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much it, yeah. And we don't need the well, yeah, we don't need the licenses anymore either. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. The entire OpenCface folder be dragged into now be used as a virtual puppet project extension. Cool, he's done it. Everyone loves some good documentation. So we'll solve this really quickly. Godot Project Manager, we'll get to you later. Maybe one day. OpenCface GD. Git commit add vpupper extension folder. Yeah, so we'll push this. That's fine. OpenCface GD. Beautiful. No license crime. $40 fine. Well, because I'm not. There's no crime committed because I don't have any of their files there. And actually, I do have their file. I do have their license here. I probably should have admitted that, but that's fine. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I can take it out. Give me one sec. It's easy. All we need to do is rm OpenCface folder. Also, how are you doing today, Haven? Splendor. rm git status git and all git commits fix up, then we'll just squash the commit. Nice. Okay, cool. So now I can stop worrying about this because this is pretty much everything that I need. So say goodbye. Now we still have the other terminal open. Oh, this is Potatable. Just another random thing I was working on instead of working on Puppeteer, although I really should be. Potatable. It's a portmanteau of potato, portable, and Ansible. I just heard your music on SoundCloud. Not bad. We'll consume all food soon, leaving nothing for anyone else on this planet. Nice, nice. Honestly, probably the best outcome for everyone involved, really. Or feel in harmony with the universe. You know what might make you feel even more in harmony with the universe? Hearing me play music in real time. I'm still not sure if this is coming through my speakers. It's been a little while since I've checked. I suppose I could turn this on. So hopefully this will resync. Oh, it's not even. Oh, but then it's coming through my monitor speakers and I'm wearing earbuds. No, I don't think it's being picked up. Oh, it's almost certainly not being picked up. That's fine. Whatever. I was gonna try to flex, but instead I've just made a fool of myself. I think something's different with my audio configuration. So I can no longer just play straight into my sound device. That's fine. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Get it? Because it's a programming stream, but also programming is something that is generally aired for viewing on the television. When you play the guitar, the duck gets weird. It's probably because like my face is looking straight at it. I tend to have like a weird hunchback when I play. It's bad form, but when I play guitar, I hunch really, really badly. When I play violin, I have good form. But guitar, it's just mostly because of how I guess learned, right? I took like about a year of guitar lessons, learned almost nothing, and then just taught myself how to play fingerstyle. And then because of like the weird way I hold my guitar when I play that way, because I play pretty much on the fingerboard. Yeah. I play on the fingerboard and then I also have to curl up to play it. So it looks very strange. Okay, well, anyways, we're back to this. This is, no, not this. This, no, this is Potatable. Bring me back to, well, we'll keep you on Potatable. I want to go back to Potatable. But we'll go to Puppeteer. Up to date, which means that we can run this, no problem. More reason to place a generic anime character? Generic anime character. I got you. Can you stretch that joke explanation for another 10 minutes, please? Gotta make sure you really use every part of the animal in that one. Which joke are you referring to? I'm sorry. Me describing how I play guitar was not a joke, unfortunately. Oh, you know what? I don't really want to be an anime girl right now. Not really feeling it, Mr. Krabs. All right. Here's this. This more or less just works. I actually need to turn off tracking here. And then we turn on tracking here, and I should be caching these nodes instead of just tearing them down every single time. But that's not so, I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's pretty much everything that you would ever want, besides saving all the configuration stuff every time. So if I were to stop this, we were to go back to main menu, go back to this, you see that the model gets reset, which is incorrect. So run the tracker again. I need to build that in. Not to hear your guitar. Just talking about regularly scheduled programming, but stream delay and all. Yeah. Does that count as a joke, or is that just wordplay? Does wordplay count as a joke? I've never really considered wordplay to be a joke, but maybe it is. Maybe it does count. The older I get, the less prone to making jokes I am. But inversely, the better at wordplay I get. So this is VRM. Let's see, default runner. Default runner. Okay, here. Okay, so VRM extends default runner, so that's fine. And then something else that's kind of tough that I've noticed is that these things here cannot have their own class name. Otherwise, it's going to freak out, which makes sense, but it does complicate things because I thought that you could just hot load a class at runtime, but maybe not. Let's see, default runner. Oh, you know, something that happened to me today. It didn't really happen to me. Well, it did happen to me, but I'm talking about like I received a package today. I got pretty tired of just eating like white rice. I was like, man, I used to have like a bunch of seaweed and like just sesame seeds that I could season my rice with. Was looking online for what those are called. Turns out in Japan, they just give you pre-mixed seasonings. I've always just made my own seasoning. I was like, oh, you get that fancy stuff, that fancy Japanese stuff to season your rice with. So you don't just have to eat like white rice with sesame seeds, some torn up dried seaweed, and soy sauce. Because I'm just an absolute degenerate when it comes to feeding myself. Yeah, so I came in and I'm excited. I got the variety pack. It also cost me like $30, but it was a pretty big box of seasoning. I never thought it would happen to me, then it didn't. It's true. It's true. Sometimes you don't think it do be like that, but it do. Or, what's the quote? Sometimes it do be like that. No, that's the response to what the other character says. What am I thinking of? I have all these random quotes in my head, but I just don't remember where they're all from. What a pain. So I should move module. Oh, you know what? This should probably be setting model config. This should be setting model, one of these. Model transform, yes. Reference good enough. Basically eat the same stuff every day, so I'm fairly satisfied with how I prepare it. Yeah, same, but I'm starting to get bored. You know, after basically, like, when did the pandemic start? 2020? Yeah, for like 1.5 years, I've eaten the same thing pretty much every day. Except for the days that I walk out and actually eat something or get something to go. Which ever since I moved it's been a lot of Five Guys. Five Guys, burgers and fries. Very tasty, also just horrible for your arteries. So model parent, this is model parent transform. So this is AMCM set data model parent transform But yeah, I've mostly just eaten rice. Sometimes it's white rice, pretty good. Sometimes it's brown rice, less good, but generally more tasty if you're eating like actual meat. And then I either eat, sometimes I buy a whole chicken and just cook that in the oven. How tasty. But a huge pain to have to deconstruct. Or more usually, I'll just buy like a ton of eggs and make an omelet. All right. Set this thing. Typical American food, yeah. Exactly, exactly. Burgers and fries. Every single American just eats that for every single meal of the day. No questions asked. Don't forget chicken tenders for dinner. Maybe a craft dinner if you really want to switch it up. It's been a long time since I've had a craft dinner, actually. The only thing I would love to try is apple pie. You know, apple pie isn't actually all that common. I feel like most people don't really eat pies. Like a lot of people during American Thanksgiving, they'll eat like a pumpkin pie, which isn't super sweet. It's more of like a savory sweet. Apple pie is very sweet, but I feel like people don't really eat apple pie all that much. Like it's like a thing where you want to be like, oh, you know what would be like really American as an American? Eating apple pie. But most people don't really eat apple pie all that often. It's an old marketing radio drama for Halo. I Love Bees. Oh yeah, I Love Bees. Yeah, well, that was for Halo 2, wasn't it? It was an ARG. It's a whole bit about a character dissecting a chicken wrong for cooking among other culinary disasters. You know, it's like dissecting, like cutting up a chicken, processing a chicken. Surprisingly difficult. That's surprisingly difficult. Config. Where do I do all the saving stuff? See, that's something that I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting how to do this. Metadata, set data, but then how do I... Seems like a pasta frolla. What's a pasta frolla? Pasta frolla? Oh, what is this? What the heck is this? Pasta frolla? Isn't this a pie? Or it's like a pie, but not as deep, I guess. Yeah, I'm not familiar. Is it like a pie, but not very deep? Is this like a very shallow tart? I like tarts. Looks good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with it. Is it just like is it like? I can't tell from this picture here, but is it? How deep is it? Like the difference between, no, this is, yeah. No, that's pretty much a pie. Yeah. That's pretty much a pie. I guess a pie usually has a all-containing crust, I suppose. Yeah, okay. If this is a pasta frolla, if it is very delicious, 4 times more sugar than apple pie, perhaps. I don't know. Looking at this, apple pie does not hold its shape like that. So yeah, there's probably a ton of sugar in that. Yeah, apple pie is more of like a jelly inside. It's more gelatinous, if you will. All right, so bone display, scroll container. No, I need to refresh my memory on how these work. So, base pop-up. No, base pop-up tree layout, because everything usually uses the tree layout. Okay, and then module extends base pop-up tree layout. But then how does it... when do we get back to saving stuff? I don't remember. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not much of a baker. I'm more of a cooker. Cooking chicken, really just horribly messing up the deconstruction of said chicken. That's my jam. Baking, I've only made bread before. And it was okay. It was just way too much work. Like, I don't know. Like, if I make bread, you know, I made like a pretty small loaf. I was like, you know what, this is pretty sick. And then I ate it, like, all in one day. Yeah. It's not really my thing anymore. Not really my thing. Like, when I make things, I prefer to have them last for at least 3 days. You know, like you bake an entire chicken, you know, you stuff that son of a gun with all kinds of herbs and whatnots. You gotta leave it in the fridge overnight, uncovered, so it dries out a little bit, so you get the crispy, crunchy skin. Ooh. You can score it if you want, although I've heard that you're not supposed to do that, but I don't know. I feel like the skin gets even crispier if you do that. US, do they eat duck? Is there a lot of game there? I don't know. I mean, you can buy farmed duck. I've never been hunting, but it is fairly common to hunt where in the surrounding area where I live. Not exactly where I live. I live in a big city. People don't hunt here. People only shoot guns here, legally or otherwise. All right, where is this called? App manager. So this one. Oh, it's on these values change. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's all coming back to me. You dummy. Don't do this. Whatever I'm doing here, don't do this. Absolutely not. This should be am pub sub publish publish generic. No, it's not generic. This is model parent transform. But yeah, I mean, there is a decent amount of game. There's just not as much. I don't know. Like, I don't really, that's not true. I do live in a state where there is a lot of hunting, and because I live in the southern US, there is a decent amount of hunting. I know a lot of people who do hunt on the regular. But that's mostly people who, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it. It's like if you are a hunter, or if someone is a hunter, you'll know. They don't usually have this accent. They usually have a more southern accent, like this. Hey y'all, we're gonna go hunting. What am I talking about? But honestly, like, people who hunt usually have more of an accent than this. Otherwise, or people who hunt and then eat the food usually have more of an accent than I have. I like to hunt but not remove the skins. Yeah. I mean, I know that some parts of the country, they do have like hunting quotas. Like, and if not, there aren't enough hunters, they'll actually pay someone to, or they'll pay hunters to go out and like hunt deer, because it helps control the deer population and whatnot. I don't know. Like, I know that at a lot of lakes near me, like I've been fishing a pretty good amount of times. I'm absolute garbage at tying any sort of knot, though. Mostly because my standards for how well a knot should be tied are pretty lax, which is not what you want when you're tying a knot. And let's be honest, I have hooked myself on a fish hook before. It's very painful. Instead of doing the smart thing and like pushing the hook all the way through your skin, so you can then like clip the hook off, I just ripped it out of my I just ripped it out of my finger. That was not a good day. Fun times. Yeah, but we never officially kept any of the fish we caught though, because a lot of the lakes near me are catch and release only. Garbage. Yeah, I am pretty... Anything that's like super detail oriented, I'm just not great at, unfortunately. Which is weird because I think programming is fairly detail oriented, but let's not mention it. I don't know why I keep closing the entire application. I don't need to close the entire application. I can just go here, main menu, which will switches out the entire scene. Oh, you know what? When we go to main menu, it doesn't... Oh no, it should be, right? So we do this. So we'll look at the underside, main menu. Okay, yeah, okay, it is saving it. I'm just dumb. And then I'll go back here, main menu. Should be lower. Okay, cool. Yeah, because of how I have this entire program structured, this is actually what the docs tell you you shouldn't do, but it's very strange. It's very strange because, I mean, it should just work fine, IMO. But the Godot docs tell you that in a more complicated project, you don't want to call like change scene directly, right? Or you only want to use like, you know, directly switching out the scene. So if you go to the remote here, you can see that we have my singleton manager, AM, aka app manager, and then you have landing screen, which is my current scene. And then I just switch out the entire scene directly, right? That's something you only want to do for like very small projects, but I feel like that's extremely biased and actually doesn't make use of anything that Godot provides. Yeah, because Godot provides, you know, like screen management, right? So it's very easy to swap things in and out, as opposed to if you're just working with like a game framework, you need to be more careful with how you are loading things in and out. Not good at detail oriented, but working on something where you forget one character and want to cry. Well, I think reading, you know, reading and writing, easy, no problem. If only because I don't actually like read the entire thing. You know, like I've described this before. When I look at code, I don't actually read most of the code. I mostly just read I read the start of the code, and then I read the end of it. And then if I need anything more complicated, then I'll move on to the next indent. So I'll only read these bits, and then I'll keep looking for whatever I need, right? So even though this entire function is roughly 30 lines, I only read 2 lines to start, and then I just kind of keep moving on until I find what I want. Duck ages like wine in my point of view. Duck? Does duck age well? I don't think duck age does. I don't know. Thank you, anonymous viewer, for the follow, by the way. But yeah, does duck age well? I don't know. I feel like most birds don't age very well, but I've never had aged duck. I have eaten a ton of duck. It's Baron. Yep. I recognize your name from the Discord. By the way, there's a Discord, if anyone is interested. Look at that. Oh, my bot died. My bot died. That's fantastic. And by my bot died, I mean the container hosting the bot probably crashed and got stuck in a reboot loop. I don't know why it crashes sometimes. It's still being rewritten, and I'm gonna host it on just a regular server instead of hosting it in a container. I think my Docker file is just bad. Sound for the bot, they will be missed. Yeah, I mean, you can still see the bot. It's the mushroom. It's the mushroom here. What a piece of garbage. Can't believe you've done this, etc., etc. Sudo restart? Absolutely not. Well, and I think that's one of the unfortunate things about containers is that once they get stuck in a crash loop, there's not too much you can do about it, right? Because it's Because when I say it's running in a container, it means I'm running it in a Kubernetes cluster. So Kubernetes is the entire orchestrator for the container. It's not like I'm running a Docker container locally, or even a Docker container on my server. I'm actually paying for container space. I think I pay $15 a year for container space. But there's something wrong with my Docker file, and I don't know what. So maybe one day I'll figure it out. Bone display. Bone display. I think this is okay. So then we'll just go back to bones. This one is fine. Get rid of this. Bones. Oh, yeah. Bones is right here. Cool. But now we have saving at the very least. Has ever given you a headache when you're working for 4 hours? I exercise because of stress, but you use alcohol. I'm glad you remember that I drink like a fish. I don't know. Like, I don't drink that much. Like, well, that's not true. I drink about maybe a bit more than a normal person does, but it's still not that much. IMO. So usually most days, 6 drinks, that's too many. 4 drinks is probably the max on like a normal day, or pretty much any day really. It's only, I'll go above 6 if we're like having a celebration or whatever, but yeah, no, I do exercise as well. I run 3 days a week. All right, so we should be able to load this back in and everything should be saved. Okay, cool. Just had to make sure of that. The commands for the points. You drink, just keep child legs in stock to replace your kidneys. Enjoy your 24-hour ban permanent haven. What an absolutely just an excellent piece of wordplay. There we go. Looks like that surgery went well. Surgery? Did I get surgery at some point? Did I have surgery that I was not aware of? That would be interesting. I've never had surgery, so I can't talk about it. I have been to the hospital a few times because of just other random things, but then they were just able to solve it later. Like I remember this might be a bit controversial, but the day I found out that I'm like almost certainly not gay, like not, Pride Month, I support homosexuals, or what's the PC term now? Have we just gone back to calling them gay? Like gay people, I have a few gay friends, yeah. But I know that I'm not gay because jump chonk. So jump is the command. It maps 1-to-1 with the channel point reward. And then there's some other things as well. So you have random, duck, small, and then chonk, which is what the other things map back to. And then you can also type in small to turn yourself upside down if you do it enough. But yeah, no, there was one time I went to the hospital, right? I was pretty young, but old enough to know the implication. But anyways, I decided I did not like wiping my butt anymore, so I just decided not to poop for an entire week. So you can probably guess how that turned out. Was just in a huge amount of pain, so they took me to my parents took me to the hospital after giving me like I had to drink like 2 liters of plum juice. Still was not coming out. Nothing was happening. Took me to the hospital. They're like, "What's wrong with your kid? He hasn't pooped in like a week." So that, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So then they made a mixture of, it was like a saline solution mixed with like pure lactate. They were like, you know, we need you to lay on your back and just relax. And they administered that solution straight to the source. Yeah. Let me tell you, when it's going in, it feels pretty bad. It was not a needle, by the way. It was a very, very big, what's it, plunger? What's it called? Syringe. Is it? I mean, isn't a syringe still a needle though? Yeah, no. What's the big syringe? What are the big syringes called? One of these with the big tip, and they just jam that way up there. Oh, it's like a dropper. Yeah, a dropper. A dropper syringe. Yeah, like one of these. Yes. Oh, that's my Amazon. Yeah, it was not a needle. It was a very, very big dropper. Just jam that as far up as it'll go. Deposit all the liquid. That was, you know, when it's going up there, it's not horrible. When they start shooting the liquid up your butt, it's not great. But when they start taking it out, that's when it starts. That's the horrible part. Oh, I can still remember that. That's like a formative moment. When I was in the single digits of the age, about like 9 years old. Oh. And then they're like, you gotta hold it for a minute. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. All right, so we need to catch something here. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, that's how I found out that I wasn't gay. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I never want to have anything like. I never want to have anything like that happen ever again. Or at the very least, like. Not to that depth. So, you know, I have, you know, had to do the entire bend over and cough thing when they're checking for lumps on your prostate. That's also very uncomfortable, but, you know, not so bad. Good times. Yeah, just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. Just extremely unpleasant. What a great memory. And then I remember after I was done doing my business, my parents let me just like hang out in the waiting room while they were doing their insurance stuff, and I got to play Star Fox 64. On the Nintendo 64 in the hospital waiting room. Fun times. Fun times. All right, so we need to subscribe to here. Subscribe to Bone Signals. Oh yeah, events published. Yeah, just subscribe to event published. I think this is actually a global constant, isn't it? Event published, yeah. Global constants event published, or what the heck? Global constants event published. Okay, cool. Pog, yeah. Star Fox 64. I think that's still a good game. I think it's actually better than GoldenEye. If you were to go back and play those games now, like at the time, GoldenEye, very transformative. But if you were to go back and play like GoldenEye and Star Fox 64, Star Fox 64 is way, way better than GoldenEye. GoldenEye kind of sucks in the modern day. Callback on Bone updated. Well, actually, I feel like this should not be handled like that. This actually needs to be handled separately. So this is am pub subscribble to subscribe bone display to Global constants event published. Yeah, anyways, I apologize for such a just a horrible story. Told in the most verbose way possible as well. But it's a very personal moment for me. I hope you can understand. I've never seen a poly station. Should I know what a poly station is? Is that popular? Oh, it's one of these. It's like, yeah, it looks like a PlayStation, but it's not actually a PlayStation, and it has the flip up thing. Yeah. Right? Is that what you're talking about? It's one of the knockoffs. I had a few knockoff consoles when I was a kid. 64 pick is perfect dark with the live port because twin sticks. What's the Xbox Live port? Yeah. I've never played Perfect Dark, so I can't speak to it. Can't speak to it. Signal name is equal to. What is a signal name I'm looking for? Should pose. Bones. I suppose that this should also be a constant, huh? Global constants. I can close all the OpenCFA face stuff now. Don't play 64 as I didn't have one, but I love Mario 64 when I had it for the Wii U. Tell me you aren't a millennial without telling me that you aren't a millennial. Or tell me that you're younger than a millennial without telling me that you're younger than a millennial. Pose bone. Alright. Best console in the third world, not like the PlayStation 2. I've never had a PlayStation 2. I never really had any PlayStation consoles up until I graduated from university. Yeah, and then I just had the money to buy my own PlayStation. And I feel like I've said this before on stream, but I bought it to play Death Stranding. Kind of got bored. Like I was like, this is like super tense, but also I'm kind of bored. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Then I just use it to play weeb games. And if you like weeb games, I can highly recommend the PlayStation. If should pose, bones to interpolate, should pose. Should games though, and I'm 16. Yeah, I figured. So if you're 16, that means you were born. Oh my god. If you're 16, that means you were born in 2006. Oh my god. I'm getting old. In 2006, I was in elementary school. Yeah, I can do math sometimes. Very pleased with the Mario 64 PC port scene. I think the version I like the most is 64 Plus. I hate to admit it, but I've never beaten Super Mario 64. Mostly because I didn't. That was one of the games like I had. I just never found fun enough to finish. All right. So data, and then needs an ID as well. Okay, so the data is the bone name. Actually, what is this even hooking into? What the heck? This doesn't seem right. Or no, it's hooking into this function. Maybe, no, there shouldn't be any setup. The only setup data should be here, yeah. House in my town, there was a pirated PlayStation 2 with a cost of $40. Yeah, I mean, PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 2 was the most successful console of all time, wasn't it? Like, it's sold the most up until the Wii, I suppose. And then the Wii became the most sellingest console, was it? Or is it still the PlayStation 2, but Wii Sports is the most sellingest game? The game with the most sales. I don't know why I keep repeating the most sellingest. It's not quite correct. Oh, actually, publish. No, that is the signal name. Yeah, that's the signal name, and here's the data. I suppose I should publish the... Oh, actually, yeah, I need to publish the state and then the bone name, because that's the ID. Okay, so we publish this. This should be picked up by here, and then if payload signal name is or is not this, then we'll return. Okay, boomer. I'm not a boomer, though. I'm a millennial. I was born in the 90s. Like, I still remember floppy disks. I used Netscape Navigator when I was, like, in first grade. And then we moved on to Internet Explorer. I have 19. Yeah. Modern free camera. Mario 64 is more playable, honestly. Probably. Where did you get the duck VTuber, or what's the story? Oh, I made this. This is my duck. This is the testing, the default model duck, the testing duck. Yeah, so I made it. Look at this. Even has all these expressions you can toggle through. Where the expressions are stored in MapleStory order, roughly. Floppy disks? You mean the save icon? Yeah, exactly. But I only remember the small save icon, not the big save icon. I've never used the big save icons. Only the small ones. So if you like old games, I don't really like old games all that much. Though I've never really played any PlayStation games either, so I've never played Silent Hill. Like I don't intentionally play old games. It's just that I was of age when those games came out. Like I have very fond memories of Mega Man 64. Even though I read nowadays that Mega Man 64 is not very good. Also, what am I looking for? Should pose button. Should pose button. Or set. Press no signal. Payload. Data. Yes. Or payload ID does not equal. So we need to have our own bone name. Oh, it does not equal name. Like that. Oh, I played some Silent Hill. No, I've not. I came here for the anime girl. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, by the way, the duck is free and open source. I still need to add the license at some points, but it is just free to use with accreditation. So you cannot say that you made it, but as long as you credit me, you can use it for free. Still like Mega Man Legends. I prefer the PSX version. It's not really a Mega Man game, but I like it. Yeah, I mean it's weird, right? Because you have what are they called? The like the weird sky pirates, the Von Trons, Von Von. Yeah, the Von Vons, and they have the little Lego guys. The Bonds, yeah. Or is it just the Bonds? I thought they were like the Von Bonds. Maybe I added that in post. Yeah. Make a model of a pelican. I do have a model of a seagull that I took from Sketchfab. That is technically good to go. I just need to load it in from my old computer. So, like, this is one of the benefits of rolling your own tracker thingy, is that you don't need to rely on other people's implementations. So VRM models are always loaded in as VRM models, right? So I load in Alicia, oh, Alicia Solid no longer exists. That's fine. Ignore this. But these models are all treated as VRM models, but regular 3D models are just I just try to figure it out based off the bones that are in the model, right? Tronbon. Maybe that's where I got mixed up. The serve bots, Lego guys are great, yeah. I thought the idea of like Mega Man Legends, the idea of like it's like a post-apocalyptic world, but it's not like grim. Like I've always found that setting to be really cool. It's like the post-apocalypse. Like the apocalypse has already happened, but now we're kind of back to normalcy, but in a post-apocalypse. You know? It's like we're not in the apocalypse. We're not in the apocalypse. We're not in the aftermath of the apocalypse. We're in the part of the apocalypse that is where things have gone kind of back to normal. Surgery fit you well, as I repeated. Isn't it weird how I'm able to get plastic surgery so often? That's pretty wild. Call it ascending if flip my tabletop RPG Switch. Now I want a rule set for it. Well, that's kind of what I've been working on a game, or I've had a game idea in mind for a while. That was like the first game I was ever working on stream. Was like it's like a post-apocalyptic setting where it's like you can still find the ruins of like the before civilization. And so my setting was based on our world. Like post-asteroid impact. I guess it'd be like a meteorite impact. Or is it, what is it called when it's called an asteroid, right? When it's floating around in space. But does it turn into a meteorite when it hits the Earth? That's something I don't really remember about English. Show wide duck again? Yeah. I mean, you could just download the program and then you could kind of wiggle the model really close to you if you wanted to, like this. Like, you know, like, hey, heard you talking shit. Look at this. When you get this close, you can actually see how simply it's modeled. Yeah, so this is the default cube. That is loop cut. Yeah, it's loop cut twice. So once down and once across. And I think it's loop cut twice on the sides as well. So you can kind of see like the original cube is still here. And then the bottom part is the exact same. It's just duplicated from the head. And then I glued it back together. So like the duck looks surprisingly good for how simply I made it. Anyways, this is not what I was testing. I was testing this. So we grab these things. Grab these things. Grab the chest. So this is the actual node hierarchy, by the way. So it should pose. Okay. So those work correctly. These all toggle correctly. Okay, so I can reuse the same methodology for everything. Like a meteor? Oh yeah, I guess that's, well, no, a meteor is when is still in the upper atmosphere. A meteorite is when it actually hits, right? When it makes contact. What happened to the drugged horse game? I'm going to have nightmares with a duck. What's the drugged horse game? The drugged horse game is from my itch, and that was made for the last Ludum Dare that I'm not going to play. But the VODs of that are actually available on my YouTube channel somewhere. I don't know. I mean, we can check. I'm not gonna look at my YouTube channel live on stream because I do have some degenerate recommendations. Ludum. Yeah, look at that. So we'll ignore Ludum Dare 50. This is gonna be a monument to my failure. But yeah, Ludum Dare 49. Look at that. 11 hours, 3.5 hours, 3.5 hours. Ludum Dare 349. 7 hours. I streamed almost all the development on that. Fun times. That was last year though. Duck. It's true. Yeah, what was I talking about before I got like super sidetracked? Oh yeah, the setting that I have. It's the post-apocalypse after an asteroid slams into the Earth and kills off most of the population. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But also the asteroid has like magic space dust that also causes cancer. But cancer is also magic powers, but I mean that's where the cancer comes from, is the magic. Which I think is cool, right? So you have like the, I guess like the moral, the ethical choice of like, do you want to have magic powers or do you want to live a long life? And so the game that I was making at that point in time, and I'm after I get this release out, I want to go back to working on that. So it was like a top-down real-time strategy game. So you have it's not really like a real-time like Command and Conquer or StarCraft, right? Where you control a bunch of units. It's like you control a few units. So you have to make decisions as to like, I don't know, like do you inject one of your personalized soldiers with the cancer dust that also gives them magic powers, etc., etc. Right? Because once you take the plunge into magic, then there's no going back, right? But then also, you can also just accidentally get magic powers, and then also just, you know, be condemned to an early death, you know? Oh, hello, Felipe. Hello. How are you? What game are you talking about? Will it be 2D or 3D or what genre? It's a RTS. The VODs aren't available anymore, but the build that I had working was in 2D, but I think it's going to have to be in 3D. Yeah. So it'll probably actually be closer to how Kenshi plays, if you're familiar with that game. Because I realized that, oh man, I really want to have verticality. Verticality in any game is always a nice thing to have. It adds another dimension, as you would expect from a 3D game. As it turns out, adding another dimension to your game adds more dimensions to it. Phenomenal. I'm a dogging around. What a good pupper. On should pose. Set pressed, no signal. Let me think. So this stuff, I can almost guarantee it's... The hard part is I need to map this stuff that's here. I need to map this stuff back to default runner and this stuff. Because I also don't want to map it twice. And I want to reuse as much logic as possible. When Thanos snapped, he turned people into dust in Endgame, but it were revives, but the dust still exists. So if so, does that mean the people that were revived are a clone of their original? I don't know. I mean, if they were, I don't know, if you were turned into dust and then not turned back into a human being from that same dust, I don't think that makes you a clone, but I don't think that you were the same person as you were before, if that makes any sense. So you're not a clone, but you're also not the same person. Because I think there is just a gap in your memory. Like if you were to reconstruct yourself exactly, if you were to exactly make an exact copy of yourself, is that also you? No, it's not, right? So if you were to be turned into dust and then turned back into yourself from that dust, that is also not the same person. Logically. Oh, hello. Poop upside down looks like a brown tornado. I'm glad you were able to figure out it was a poop. Hello, True and Hero. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do here. Oh, actually, I know what I want to do here. We'll just do this. This is easy. Yeah. We'll just use my catch-all that I have been telling myself I should not be using, but I'm going to use it. Signal payload. All right, so match payload signal name. So we're going to match on global constants posebone. So we want to handle this one. So this is a pub sub in the truest form. Yeah, who's pinging me? Yeah, that is me. Yes. I don't usually check my Discord while I'm live, but I can check, I suppose, if you really want me to look. Does it mean the people who are revived can snort their own dust? I mean, that's pretty wild. Hello, True and Hero. Hello, how are you? Oh, I see that you've got the current version of the project working. Also, how? Oh, because you pay for Discord, I think, so you can make your own little emotes. Is that how that works? I'm not super familiar. Very nice though. I'm behind on the times, as mentioned previously. You know, like I was born a bit too late to be into TeamSpeak or Ventrilo, or Event as it was called, but too early for Discord, which means I'm part of the Skype generation. Remember when Skype was super popular? Those are the days. Config listen values. All right, setup config. Pre-setup scene listen value. So we should be listening for. No, this should be separate. Scene listen values. Well, no, we do. These aren't specific to this scene. All right, we'll do it like this: am ps subscribble to event publish. This is actually available as another constant. Stream avatars like isn't on GitHub. It is on GitHub, yes. It is available under friendly potato stream, I think. So if my bot is working again, I can try. My bot is still down. Let's look at stream, friendly potato stream. It is a bit hard to figure out how to make it work. Yeah, I can kick the container manually, but I'm not going to. I'm rewriting my bot, so it's should be more stable as well. Because I think part of the reason is because I'm running into there's a memory leak, I think, but also it's because when it gets kicked out of Twitch chat, because Twitch chat kicks you out roughly every 12 hours, I think. Oh, self. Subscribe ourself to this one. Yeah, but when my bot gets kicked out of Twitch chat, it then gets very confused and then starts hammering the Twitch server. I think that's what's happening. And then because it starts hammering the Twitch server, it receives a bunch of requests back, and then the container crashes. Or that might be the memory leak as well. I'm not sure. It's hard, right? Because it's hard to emulate getting kicked out of Twitch chat. And I'm not going to just hang around and wait for it to happen either, because I have other things to do rather than stare at a console for 12 hours. But yeah, the stream avatars thing, it's on GitHub. I'm looking at it right now. Look at that. It's kind of old, but I mean, it does work though. Kick spot. Peace was never an option. Yeah, peace was never an option, but instead of like fighting back against Twitch, it just kind of destroys itself. It's very unfortunate. All right, so posebone. So if we have posebone, then we'll know enough to be able to do this stuff. Okay. I think should track I isn't even used here. Or is it used? It's not really used. Okay. We'll think about that. Should move model. Should pose model. But then... Okay, then I need to know bone to pose. And then this is repeating the same mistakes I've made previously. So bone to pose. So almost guaranteed though that your bone will have a name. Yeah. Alright, we'll match payload data. So if it's true. I'm just using a match statement so it's easier for me to look at. Not that it's faster. It's actually a bit slower, I think, because it's more for the GDScript parser to parse. But for my own biological parser, it's easier for me to read. Someone kicked from Twitch as of committing honorary Sudoku. My favorite kind of ritual puzzle. Let's see. So what am I doing here? So this is should pose model. Why am I doing that like this? I should just do should pose model is equal to payload data, and then yeah, I guess it doesn't matter, right? Should pose model. And then we can even set the bone to pose as well. Bone to pose is equal to payload.id, right? Because our signal payload is very simple. I also cannot select it for whatever reason, but there's our signal payload. It's very simple. It's basically a struct, even though GDScript in Python doesn't have structs. So it consists of data, ID, which is optional, and then a signal name, which is not optional. So data is the data that changed. ID is the descriptor for the data, if necessary, and then the signal is the signal. Yeah, so that makes sense. So then here, on basically a generic signal, so there's two types of signals. There's config signals, which map one-to-one. They map back one-to-one with whatever. The config values, not whatever. So model config, these map back pretty easily. So apply translation is available here as apply translation somewhere. Or maybe not, no. Is apply translation? Yeah, no, apply translation is here. I just need to find it. Apply translation, where is it? Apply translation, apply rotation, should track I is here. Yeah. So that's easy, but then for things that aren't config values, that's a bit tougher. Which is why I also have kind of patched in a generic publish as well. So we can either publish, so this looks for an exact signal name. So whenever we start up the program, our model configs and all that will register every one of their properties with a pub sub. So we can directly emit that signal, or we can emit on event published, and then we'll just use the generic one and we'll have to map it back using that. Will not read your message, Baron, because I'm actually team you win. I'm not gullible. Sorry you had to find that out. If you want to find gullible, you could probably find their channel on Twitch. If you had a pet seagull, would gullible be a good name for it? I don't know why I just thought of that. I said, you know what? Gullible, seagull, thinking emoji. I've never really thought about that before, but now it's just in my brain. All right, should pose model. Okay, so this is a bit tough. So reuse, I can't reuse the logic for posing the model because posing the model actually uses a completely separate set of inputs. So if should pose model, what am I doing here? Then we'll have a bone to pose and bone to pose empty. So if it's not empty, name the seagull model. Gullible, yeah. I have the model somewhere. I mean, I can probably just open it up in Blender and show you that it is indeed rigged. I did rig it myself. Hold on. I think I have it on my computer. It's not a Blender project though. It's been exported. So imports. It's a GLB, which is a GLTF. Where is it? So we go dev, puppeteer, temporary, seagull. Oh, there's nothing in it. Okay, well that's fine. Whatever. I guess I can't show it off. Or maybe I can. Maybe it's still here. Or is this, oh no, this is gonna explode if I open it. Never mind, we're not gonna open it. It's still, yeah, the files are somewhere on my old computer. So I need to go find my old computer. The computer that may or may not catch fire at any time because the battery is starting to bulge. But you know, it's not looking as bulbous anymore now that I keep it off most of the time. So I should pose model and not bone to pose empty. So how did I do this before? So I do need to look back at the initial implementation of this. So bring me back. Back to this commit. Browse files. I think I would like to also point out that someone, I noticed this. About 2 weeks ago, someone opened up a pull request, and I was like, what the heck is this? Like, I appreciate the pull request, the cleanliness of it, I suppose, because I did prefix it with a, you know, what the PR is for. It's a feature. It's not really a feature though, it's more of a cleanup. No description. And then it's like very, very messy. Because it imports OpenC face as a Git submodule, but they do it in like a kind of a weird way. And they also included their own config in it as well, which is very strange. And they also updated the README. I didn't notice this. Yeah. But they have not made any changes. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Go back to screens, model display screen. We'll see, boy, don't drink too many shots or chupitos. I don't know what the chupito is still. I suppose this is something I should look up as well. Chupito. What the heck was that? You get that absolutely cursed face off the screen. De bebida alcohólica, shots. To drink alcohol. Okay, cool. Chupito. I suppose, yeah, that checks out, right? I don't know what is that chupo? Is it right? Because you add like an ito to the end of a word in Spanish to make it cute or young or smaller, I suppose. Right, so I know like chico, chiquito, chica, chiquita. So is chupito, is there a chupo? Like is like just a pint of beer just called a chupo? If it was, that's very pog. I do appreciate consistency in languages. That's cool though. Sees laptop bulge. Notices your laptop's bulge. What's this? Ooh. Glomps your laptop. Bursts into flames. Actually, where do I handle posing? What the heck? Oh, did I handle this directly on the model? Oh my god. Please tell me I didn't. I have a feeling I did, though. Oh, okay, no, that's fine. I think that's fine, probably. Wait, then how do I handle posing the model then? Eh? Who wrote this? Where is model posing handled? How did I do this beforehand? Is it in? Oh, it's probably not going to be in any of these either, huh? Explodes. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you'll explode. Maybe if you were to like apply your saliva straight to the lithium-ion battery. Because lithium is an alkaline metal. And I think isn't it like any alkaline metal, when it comes into contact with water, will explode, right? Because water makes it, well, it's not the water itself. Like, you can use pure water, where you can apply pure water to any alkaline metal and then nothing will happen, but it's because of the impurities in water that cause alkaline metals to explode. Something like that. Something like that. I feel like that's something I remember. I will admit it's been a long time since I've taken any chemistry class. Model. Set up map bones. Set up pose. Hair. Bone toggled. Generate UI elements. I remember this. This was such a super scuffed implementation. I tried really hard to make it work, but I really should not have. So how did I do posing? Oh no, the GIF. Is it you? How did I handle posing? I'm so confused. So I thought I was handling posing here. Yeah. Like, and then like functions like this even aren't even used. Like find bone chain used to be working back when I had the ability to convert like random model bones. So like there's invisible bones in this model, right? But I used to have the ability to just convert bones to being like rigid bodies, so that you would have like random flappy bits on just regular 3D models. My minion can cover your avatar. I mean, I suppose that you're lucky that you are currently a block of soap, or potentially a tongue, based off of, depending on how twisted you are. You're lucky. This one time I'll let you get away with it. It's not here. Where is it? Where do I handle this again? I'm losing my mind. DuckGD, no. Nothing there. Base prop, no. That's just a struct. Custom update, no. Move head, no. It's none of these. It's not in resources either, because I've already checked this. But we do hook these up, so double toggle. So then there's bone toggle, bone name, blah, blah. Here. Track, and then pose. GUI, generate UI. Oh, it actually, oh my God. Is it in the GUI? Oh, please don't be in the GUI. I'm almost certain it's in the GUI though. Who wrote this? It was me. I wrote this. I'm the idiot. Okay. Okay. So I see. I see. I need to think. This is a little complicated now. So I need to retrofit this so it can fit all of this stuff in it. I'm sure there's a good way of doing it. Or maybe I think that this is one of the parts where I wish I was doing this in Rust. I suppose I could always go back and rewrite this in Rust after I get the build out. Gotta wait on it though. I'm thinking. So should modify bone, and then if is left clicking. So this stuff is the same. So I think, yeah, okay, I can add these things into it. No, you can't. I mean, you kind of can, but you really shouldn't. All right, I gotta think. How do I make all of this fit into here? Where the most important difference is that we now also have this check here. So this code only applies to modifying the pose. I suppose... I think we can, yeah, I guess we can do this. It should pose model and not bone to pose, empty. Yeah, we can just add these in here, in line. And then it should be okay, question mark. And then this stuff, scroll up, scroll down. I need to have the same check here as well. I think that's okay. So we can place that here and place that here. So we'll just nest all of these because these need to apply to each action 100% of the time. Whereas these are more separate because these are mapped to, well, these are mapped explicitly to action scroll up and scroll down, whereas should move model, should rotate model are mapped to UI elements, which are different. Yeah. That's tough. My brain is telling me that I should probably figure out a better way to rewrite this, but I'm not going to just yet. Transform is equal to some sort of transform from the model. We have the model 100% of the time. Skelly man. Get bone pose. I've been told that you really should only be using get bone pose. Don't use any of the other ones. Get bone pose, and then we need to do model skeleton finds bone to pose. Sure, that's your transform. We can probably put this back on one line. That's okay. It's a bit long, but that's fine. So then our transform is equal to transform rotated. We're just gonna retype it. Like, retyping doesn't really do a lot for most people, but I feel like for me personally, I get a lot of, like, I can feel the muscle memory, right? It helps build muscle memory when you retype something. So in the future, whenever you are, you're typing some garbage, you're like, oh, this feels familiar, or this doesn't feel familiar, If you're doing a basic task and it doesn't feel familiar, you can be like, oh, okay, maybe something is not correct here. Now smooth strength. skeleton, get pose. All right, I feel like this thing, bones of pose, could probably be converted directly to... Yeah, actually, yeah, this could probably be converted directly to an ID. So bones of pose should be an integer, -1. So like that. Then here, we'll do model skeleton find bone. This thing. All right. I've just noticed how big you are, Baron, so I'm going to shrink you a little bit. This is what you get. I apologize. All right, bones of pose. I think that's okay. We'll go back up to here. This simplifies things because we can set the bone immediately instead of having to do a search every single time. And bones of pose is greater than 0. Yeah, and then this one should also be bones of pose greater than 0. Yeah, I think that feels better. That feels better. I think programming based off of feeling, I think if you had asked me, like, is that a valid way that you should be programming? Previously, I would have told you no, that's absolutely ridiculous. But now that I have a bit more experience, you know, you know what? I think there's something to it. There's something to it. Some things just don't feel correct sometimes. Bones of pose. Transform. Yeah, okay, cool. And then we can do the same thing here. Forward, scroll. Zoom strength? Am I using zoom strength for... Or is scroll strength the same as zoom strength? I don't remember. We'll take another look. Model display screen. So this one has zoom strength at 0.05, whereas this one has scroll strength as 0.05. Okay, so I'm just using the same thing. That's fine. That's fine. Not the greatest of implementations, for sure, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay. I remember thinking at the time, like, this is kind of a garbage way of handling all of this stuff. But model skeleton set bone pose, bone to pose, transform. We'll do the same thing here, except transform rotated vector 3 forward zoom strength set bone pose bone to pose and then the transform. Yeah, there we go. As I go back to here, we should be able to load in the, yeah, there's the duck. We'll have the bones, and then you should be able to pose. This is a bit hard to tell, but we can move the neck, that's fine. But whenever you move off of something, that it should deselect it, right? Whenever you leave the menu, it should deselect should pose. Yeah, look at that. Scrolling doesn't appear to do anything though. That seems a bit weird. Oh, actually, hold on. Is it because... Yeah? Am I not setting it? So I'm able to do this. I'm able to do this, but I'm not able to rotate the head. So I'm not able to like cock the head like this. Because it's not picking up my... It's not picking up my scroll inputs. Like this. Oh, but now it is. Oh, it's because it's based off a should zoom model. Okay, so that's wrong. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, I gotta think. I gotta think. So I can't nest them. I think they have to be separate, just if statements, but that makes it very slow. But it's not a huge problem at this point in time anyways. All right, you know, I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom anyways. I'll think about it. BRB. Hello? Hello? I heard you were talking some ish. Would you like to say that to my first? Yeah. By the way, Python and GDScript by extension, because GDScript is based off of Python, GDScript doesn't use semicolons. So if you were to remove all the semicolons, there's very few places where that would break stuff. Like, I think the only thing that semicolons are used for in GDScript is that you can do this. No, you can't even... Oh, yeah. If you want to have several statements on the same line, then you can use a semicolon. But that's it. Fortunately, I don't do many statements on the same line, because that is pretty jank. That's only me. Yeah, it happens, right? Maybe one day, once we're back to working on games, we can get more of a crowd. That's one of the downsides to working on just software. Software isn't very interesting. You know, if you really want to go deep into inside baseball about streaming, though, it's a lot of luck and it's a lot of luck. It's a lot of also like just hard work trying to like network yourself. Like I'll admit, I have not done like any networking whatsoever. Like I only like watch one or two streamers. Whereas I know if you want to get views, what you should actually be doing is popping into other streamers' chats and then being like, hey, cool stuff. And then you raid them and they'll be like, oh, okay, like you're in chat sometimes. Maybe I'll raid you in the future. And then that's how you kind of build up a whatnot. A whatnot was it's all that good stuff, right? but I'm lazy. I'm lazy. I don't even get paid to do this. All right, so we'll re-implement all of this stuff. Otherwise, I don't think there's a good way of doing this. Yeah, so we have a little bit of repetition, but what are you gonna do? So grab all of this stuff, paste. I'll remove all your open close brackets. That would be very unfortunate for sure. I don't know. I mean, I will have you know that everything is backed up on GitHub. That's not really backed up. I guess if you were to make something public, it is kind of the ultimate backup, right? You know, don't have to worry about losing data if everyone already has your data. Tabs forehead. Something like that. Default GUI. Oh, whoops. That's not how this works. Close all of these. Bones. So we should be able to wiggle up, down. Oh. All right, I've messed this up. Oh, because I set both of these to negative zoom strength. Okay, so we'll go back to here. So sorry, my Twitch stopped buffering. It's okay. Don't worry, I don't get lonely. Not to that extent anyways. Okay, so I see. So something else I need to do. So we can wiggle you up and down like this. And we can even move this out of the way if you don't want to look at it. So you can Yeah. All right, so this is how the model should look though, is that you're able to you have 3 degrees of movement. So you have your up, down, left, right for your, I guess, pitch and yaw, and then you also have roll. So you have control like that. Find and replace all spaces and line breaks with nothing, please. Isn't that just called a JavaScript minifier? I mean, I guess that is pretty much what it is, though. Like that new GUI, I'm hyped for the new OpenC face. Thanks. Me too. It's a good GUI. It's a good GUI. It's a good GUI. And then it should also hopefully be easier to use because it's a lot cleaner. It's not butt ugly like this. But there's also a lot less, what should we call it? A lot less baggage from the previous version. Anyway, check this out. I like how the model like twists with the duck as well. You can kind of see it because the vertices all kind of line up like that, so you can kind of twist. Oh no. And actually, then the vertices fix themselves, which is kind of weird. You can turn it upside down. Looking pretty good. Yeah, and actually, technically, I can do that with my current model as well. Technically, that these are not new developments. These are things that have been available before, so I can. Oh, hold on. Move me back. It needs to be the neck. So we can. This is part of the trippiness. This is the trippy part, is that you're able to do this stuff like that. And it's all fairly seamless. It's things that other programs don't usually let you do because, like, why would you ever want to? But, you know, I see the benefit and letting you do whatever you want. You know, I'm a firm believer in the belief of, you know, we're all adults here. Therefore, you know, here's a loaded gun. Your foot's right there. If you want to shoot your foot off, that's your own problem. All right, so when I save, so which one of these is exit scene? One of these is exit scene, isn't it? Pre-setup, setup, physics step, or is it runner trait? Runner traits has tear down, tear down. So this just cleans up all the trackers, but then what cleans up all of the model stuff? Is that in model? I don't remember. Is it in Puppet? Puppet? Puppet. Setup logger, blah, blah. Model config changed. No, these are all just ready stuff, so we don't care. So the image of my avatar next stretched. Like heck. The stretchiness is part of the fun, right? Most VTuber programs, the novelty comes from seeing the model kind of, you know, deform with how you move, right? You also get that with my program, but you also get a little extra bonus in that you can really screw up your model, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All right, so I need to figure out. Where all these things are saved. I don't remember. Because this thing saves itself. Default runner does not appear to save itself. Oh no, but they apply their changes instantly. So, okay, so I can do the same thing. Yeah. They apply their changes instantly, and then the app manager forces a save when you quit. Yes, that's correct. So bone display, that's fine. But okay, so in default runner, I need to write the values directly here. Oh, yeah, which is just right here. Yeah, what am I doing? Why am I being so weird about it? Only can do it down there. What do you mean down there? What do you mean? What do you mean, uwu? It's a feature levels reaching maximum. This isn't even my final form. It's not even my final form. You want to see, like, it's a feature levels reaching its maximum potential? Did I show you this before? I can stretch on it. No, I got you the first time, Baron. I got you the first time. I knew what you were talking about. It was rhetorical. You don't need to tell me. But yeah, check this out. So this is maximum. It's a feature. I think I have showed you, Haven. Yeah, it's the REPL. So it's something that most people are not aware that you can do in Godot, but I'm aware. If only because I do this thing a lot. Right, so we can create a new sprite, store var sprite as a funny little live debugger. Oh, it's a debugger and REPL. There's a difference. You don't understand, Mom. It's so much cooler than that. It's actually really cool. Look at this. Sprite global position is equal to OS window size divided by 2. Amazing. Oh, and then we're crashing. Okay. And see, this is not even, I did not design this library, advanced expression, to work like that, but I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. Well, no, it was meant to be used as a debug console, but I didn't think about it. I was like, wait a minute. I could just use that as like a REPL as well. Gotta go. Don't worry. Thanks for hanging out, Baron. Much appreciated. Take it easy. Good luck during, I guess if you're 16, then you're on summer vacation, right? Summer vacation is, at least in the US, assuming that you're based out of the US, is going on right now. I don't know. I'm not aware. It's been a little while since I've had summer vacation. Because when I was in university, I also took summer classes. So I didn't really have the luxury of going on vacation after I started university. Yeah, actually, if I had just focused on one major in college or in university, in the US, people use college and university interchangeably. It's something that gets me a lot. Because in other countries, college actually refers to community college or like a technical college. University is what people use to refer to like higher learning. Yeah, I think if I had actually focused on just one major, I could have graduated in like 2 years. Because I took so many credits, and for whatever reason, people like don't understand how to sign up for classes. That's something that's always kind of boggled my mind. It's like, well, how do you not know how to sign up for classes? Like, what does that mean? It's something that you have to do. You just look at your list of required classes that you need to graduate, right? So it's like if you are, insurance major, your advisor will tell you like you need this class and this class and this class to graduate. So just sign up for all those classes. Like I don't get it. How do you ever like miss a class? Or how do you forget to add a class? Or maybe I'm the weird one here that like mainlined all their classes. Bones oppose. Oh, actually, that's the ID. And then the data is the transform. And then this is bone transforms. Yeah, see, this is where I want to have... I would like to write another tool that generates, like you can write an annotation, and then you run the tool, and then that tool will generate a list of constants from that file that you can then, use. Because otherwise, I need to do this all manually. I suppose I don't need to do it manually, but I bone transforms, const. Bone transforms. We'll go back to here. We'll use this as the key. So global constants. Bone transforms. Actually, pretty much these are all the same. And these should be separate if statements as well. So you can be left clicking. Actually, no, you can't be left clicking and also having mouse motion at the same time as scroll up or scroll down, because unhandled input should be an input queue. Yeah. I guess it's okay. We'll think about that if we need more performance. Like this is a really easy, like this is one, it's a hot path, but two, I don't think that it's killing performance all that much either. Probably not. So it should be okay. We'll go back to here. And then now, when I pose the model, it should be manipulating it. They should be manipulating it and then also saving it, I think. Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, it should have. Finish saving data. Go back to here. Oh, it's because it doesn't, the data is saved, but it's not applied. Puppet trait. Okay, so default config values. Okay, so set bone transforms. Okay, that's a bit weird, but whatever. So we're setting a constant to another constant. That should be okay though. So we look for the head bone. We set the initial poses, but actually before that, I should be doing bone transforms. So this should be a dictionary. So AM, CM, get data, bone transforms. And actually this one should just be get data as well. Because we should be trying to use the defaults whenever possible. And then we also like default to using the model config as opposed to using the metadata, because model config files are more specific. So start from most specific to least specific. I think that's the ideology I try to use. So bone transforms, then for key, or I guess it's bone name, in bone transforms dot keys for bone transform is equal to skeleton, no, bone transforms, bone name, right? Because that's how the mapping should work. And then we'll have bone, oh, hold on. Is that correct? Is that correct? Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, so we get the bone name from the payload. Okay, yeah, so we are indeed storing bone name, which is bone name, a string to bone transform, which is the transform. Yes, 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 yes. So that's our transform. Then we'll need to grab our bone ID. Bone ID is equal to, that's a transform. This one should be an integer, which is skeleton finds find what? Pose. Why am I not getting code completion? That's weird. Find bone. Right, so that's your bone ID. That was weird. I feel like my Godot instance is about to crash. This happens sometimes, where like my code completion gets all kind of weird, and then also VS Code starts to kind of lag a bit with showing tooltips, and then everything explodes. Gotta love it. Bone ID. So then we'll do, so these transforms are all the ones that are set from the model. So then we'll go into Like we have the bone ID, then we'll just do skeleton pose, set bone pose. Is that what it's called? Set bone pose? Please, I don't remember what the functions are called. My greatest weakness is relying way too much on the ID to give me code completion, but that's probably a symptom of me working with Java. It's like, that's how you know you've done way too much Java. Set bone pose. So that's your pose, and then your transform is the bone transform. So the bone transforms. Something like that. So then we don't need any of these, although those would be useful for debugging, but that's fine. Yeah, okay. I think that seems pretty good. Default runner. All right. Pose for me, baby. Pose me. Main menu. That should just save. Yeah. Really? What are you talking about? Really? I thought that made sense. Maybe it doesn't. So in extensions, puppet traits, there should be, because otherwise I should have gotten like a null pointer error. Yeah. All right. Leave me here. I gotta sneeze. Gotta sneeze. Oh god. Oh, I can feel it deep inside my plums. All right. So main menu. Load me. Yeah. Wait a minute. What the heck? So we didn't hit. We didn't hit this ready function? Excuse me? Oh wait, does duck use a... What? What? Wait, what? Alright, hold on. I'm confused. What? Alright, start me. So we hit this, and then we... Ooh? So it only calls... Wait a minute. So this duck... But then how does it know what the node is? Or actually, no, it's just using the... Well, how is it... Are there no bone transforms? Oh, you know what? That's probably it, is that there's no bone transforms, huh? Oh, yeah. I see. And then there's no bone transform, so it immediately passes, and I had put the breakpoint inside of the loop. Okay. So why are there no bone transforms? Yeah. So if we set a bone transform from here, we do the entire should pose thing, right? And then here in default runner, where is it? Here. So scroll up. Oh. There's a scroll up. So I publish this bone transforms. I mean that should be okay, I guess. Huh? Is it not called bone transforms? Or did I mistype it like an absolute moron? That would not be the first time. No, that seems correct. That seems correct. So then if I go into model config, then I can set another breakpoint to make sure that it's actually being called. Or it's not model config, it's config manager. Yeah, it's config manager. So model config changed. All right. All right. So what is the key? Bone transforms. It's because the key is not P is not compatible. Right, because the data is a raw transform, but actually what it's expecting is I see. It's expecting a dictionary, but I'm just giving it a transform. And then because a transform is a value, right? It's a value object, whereas a dictionary is reference counted. I see. That's tough. Okay. So back to the drawing board. So whenever we set the bone pose in default to runner, I need to send. That's tough. Because I'm trying to avoid having a giant like handler function. Because otherwise that's completely unmaintainable. I gotta think. So in bone, it's just bones? Just bones? Okay. So this is pose bone, that's fine. It can't be transformed. That's pretty much it. It cannot be transformed. But what we can do is be a little cheeky. So var config data is equal to am cm. This is not great, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't really have a better way of doing this. Yeah. Get data, global constants, bone transforms. So something like this. So we'll just hang on to the config data, right? And then here, config data, model skeleton, get bone name, bone to pose is equal to transform, and then we'll send it along here, config data, I suppose. Yeah, something like that. And then we can just repeat this across everything else. I'm not, is, really gonna make me do it. Okay, I mean, we're doing it. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not happy about it. Let it be known that I'm not a huge fan of this pattern, but in theory it should work. All right, and now we are starting to run into type errors because of how Godot gets confused with a lot of, if you have too many global classes, which is why I'm actually very strongly considering rewriting this. Or rewriting a lot of these like core things in Rust. So a lot of the messaging would be a lot easier because at least in Rust, you can guarantee that things will be type safe. Or even just like moving to C#, but I think if we're going to be stepping out of GDScript, you might as well go all the way, right? So might as well just bypass the entire JIT C# thing. Just go straight to Rust. How beautiful. Because I already write some extensions already in Rust as well. Or by some extensions, I mean like exclusively the lip sync thing. Oh, good. Oh, no, this is fine. Send me. Oop. I think that's okay. Main menu. Send me back. Oh baby, we're doing it. I've also lost the ability to click on the title bar. Okay, now we can click on it. I don't know what happened there. That's weird. Cool, so we're back to having that work, and that's pretty much... Is that's it, right? In terms of just having tracking work, that's pretty much it, right? So we'll go back to this. Leave a note for my future self to do how data is published here is pretty gross. Yeah. But actually what we can do, so after we're done with the if statement, we can actually, because the pose stuff is all the same. Oh, but we don't have the transform anymore. But we only need to publish once. We don't need to publish multiple times, just in case you, I don't know, did a thing multiple times, I suppose. Oh, and actually, what we can do, we can pull out more and more things. So we have your config data. We have the transform that you should be using. And then we only modify it when it needs to be modified, right? Oh. And then we can pull out this thing as well. So when we actually update the real config value, we can use this. Look at that. Okay, so this is way more, this is way cleaner. At least it feels a lot better to me. Okay. I mean, it's still not great. Let's be honest. Still not great, but it's a lot cleaner. I still think there's a way for me to integrate this logic into here, so it's all just one big, you know, process. But I need to think about it. I think possibly if I invert these if statements here, yeah, if I invert these if statements, then it might work. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Yeah. Okay. One more thing I need to do. This one's pretty easy. It doesn't require me to restart the tracker at all. But where is it? Default runner. That's the input stuff. Preset up scene. I think the... Wait, isn't default runner is just a script, isn't it? I think the default runner is just a script. So if I were to... Okay, we can add a world environment thing. And actually, yeah, this is... Setup config would be based off of the... Hold on. Setup config relies on reading some config values. I'm thinking. So setup logger, set the config, then pre-setup scene, setup scene. These are the config listen values. Okay. Config changed. Yeah. I think that's okay. Pre-setup scene, setup scene, and then post-setup scene. It doesn't really matter. Pre-setup scene though, this is the tracker. I still need to rethink that. Here we can have a world environment. World environment. And then I need to basically generate the entire environment stuff myself, right? Oh, don't print that. Online docs. World environment. Oh, hello. Hello, Dash. How are you? I see that you have added to your collection of anime waifus. Akane Pat is kind of freaking me out though. I don't like that. Stop. I think it's the fact that it's like a human hand but like an anime girl. It's weirding me out. How are you? How are you? All right, but yeah, check this out. Check this out. I can see in chat that you're not watching, but I'll still talk my way through it, so you may imagine it in your head. So I have recently implemented the ability that I've had before. I keep re-implementing the same stuff, but you can move the model, obviously, but now you can also pose the model and it will persist. Ooh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. You can now, click on the wrong thing. You can now move the model and now persist to disk, which is really cool. How cool. So if we were to go back to the main menu, load it back. Oh baby, it's stuck at the position we set it at. Tracking works again. Oh baby. Still need to implement these info screens, but we'll get around to it. Yeah. We're almost back to like normal functioning status. We're getting there. We're getting there. And also, because I'm doing it in pure GD script, it shouldn't be too bad to port to Godot 4. Yeah. Now that Godot 4 is a little bit more stable. Yeah. Like I recently ported my REPL / debug console to Godot 4. It's the only one of its kind because it allows you to have direct access to the scene tree, and you don't need to like pre-write any like console commands. Because I know there are a few quote-unquote debug consoles for Godot, but none of them give you direct access. Mine does. How nice. So recently ported that to Godot 4, no crashes, so maybe it's about time to start considering a port. What do you think about low-code programming stuff? Do you think they're going to replace programmers? Nope. Absolutely not. Maybe in like 50 years, I can see it, right? Because once you have code that's able to generate more code, and right, I mean that's also how compilers work. Is compilers are just code that generate more code, right? Once you get to some point. Yeah, maybe. So maybe low code is the future, but I don't think it's not within the next 20 years, right? Unlikely. It's very, very unlikely. But I think if you're just asking in general, will low code replace programming and programmers? Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Right? Just like compilers, like the C compiler has completely replaced assembly programming for the most part. Like you really only need to drop into assembly nowadays if you really need to squeeze out a little bit of performance by basically cheating. It's not cheating is the wrong word, but it's like you're taking a shortcut that you really shouldn't be, but you can, right? And in the same way, that's kind of how low code is going to be, is, you know, a lot of basic business logic, right? So like I want, you know, when you click on, you know, a form on the website, I want it to, you know, give you this drop down or whatnot. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty easy, right? It's the same thing over and over again, whatever. So like basic things, or like I want to click on the thing on the page and it'll bring you to another page. They already have tooling for that, right? You can already do that. And so it's not a stretch to think that someone will come up with a low code tool that will allow you to, you know, it'll generate just random garbage like this for you. The hard part about low code compared to compilers is that compilers all use the same language, right? You know, if you have a compiler that generates x86 assembly, right, or AMD 64 assembly, right, then you can kind of reuse the same compiler across many, many computers. Whereas for a low-code programming language, you're going to need to target like a very specific subset of languages, right? And I guess if you're going to do like a low-code C++, you're in for a very bad time. Because C++ is very complicated. And if you want the max performance possible, there's a lot of tricks that you can use. Whereas low code needs to make a lot of assumptions. You know, but if you're talking about compiler to assembly, right? Compiler is generating assembly. Assembly is very simple, right? You have, you know, X many registers or whatever. I only know Game Boy. I only know Game Boy assembly. But you have Game Boy assembly, you have 8 registers, I think. Was it 8 or is it 6? You have 8 registers, and then you just need to juggle those around, or you need to store those values somewhere else in just like a random place in memory, right? So compilers generating assembly, very simple. You only need to cater to one type of architecture or one type of assembly. Whereas low-code programming languages, you could just target C++, or you could just target C, but then you're not going to be able to target, you're not going to get the most optimal software, right? So for things like a very simple GUI application, like I guess, like you wouldn't want to use low code for a text editor, because text editors, you actually need to squeeze out as much performance as possible. Otherwise, it's going to feel horrible to type in. You know, I realize I've been talking, kind of ranting about it, but it's a topic I have strong opinions about. What do you think about Bubble, College, or Scratch and tools like that? I think Scratch, I only know Scratch. Scratch is a good learning tool. If you don't know how to think in a structured way, I think Scratch is good, right? It's a useful tool for teaching you how to think, how to organize your thoughts. But in terms of being a useful programming language, I don't think it's very useful. Poor performance, one of the reasons I hate Google Docs. Yeah, but do you remember when Google Docs first came out? Google Docs was revolutionary, man. Absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, I think it is a valid point though, right? Like if Google Docs doesn't feel good to use, then it's something that you would usually try to avoid using. So take from that what you will. Collidular helps you make mobile apps, and Bubble helps you make web apps. I don't remember too much about that. Isn't like Rocketstrap and Jetstrap are things? So like if you're talking about web apps, like web design, then sure, you know, that's something I mentioned before, is that, you know, low code is something that could 100% replace web design. Are you just using a regular webcam for your tracking? I am. This is a Logitech something. It's not the cheapest Logitech, but it was sold at like an Office Depot, I think. No, it's sold at a Best Buy. It's some sort of Logitech webcam though. So is it fancy? Not really. I mean, it is HD, 1080p, oh baby. So someone made Reddit using Bubble. What is Bubble? Bubble low code. The best way to build web apps without code. Sure. I mean, yeah. I think the hard part about low code is that at some point you're going to need to have logic that is not expressible using the built-ins, and then, or you do have logic that you can express using drag and drop, but it's going to get very, very complicated, right? So Will low code become more prominent in the future? Yes. Will it become like the main way that we program things? No. But it does have its place for sure. And then once the technology gets there, then yeah. You know, it's just like how, you know, like Unreal blueprints work, right? Unreal blueprints and Unreal, very powerful, very cool. Allows you to define a lot of logic without having to write any C++ at all. But once you start needing to have that custom logic, that's when it starts getting really tough. Because then then you have like literal spaghetti, like, or it literally looks like spaghetti, right? Because your low code thing now has like, you know, your low code thing will now look like, you know, that's not how you do it. So you have your one low code thing to this low code thing, one low code thing to other low code thing. So this goes to this goes to this, and it's like, what the heck are we talking about again? You know, and then sometimes we can just jump to the end, and then you see how low code can start getting very confusing. Whereas in programming, you're just reading an essay. It's not too hard. Esteemed Logitech something, yes. I don't know how to look for it, and I'm not going to start messing with my webcam in real time. Although I could look at my device manager. Maybe my device manager will tell me. Hopefully it will not display my webcam output. It's an HD Pro webcam C920. I have a Logitech C920, I suppose. Are those low code setups node based? No, that's a question for Desh. Kaju can be very interesting because you can design the mobile app and can add other stuff and you can debug it on your mobile. Well, yeah, it's just like how isn't like React Native. There's a React Native thing that you can do, so you can, you know, deploy React Native apps, or you can write a React Native app and then deploy it instantly to your mobile. So it's Expo. That's what it's called. Expo app, not JSON. Expo. Yeah, universal native apps using React Native. Yeah. It's very visual. Yeah, but I think you'll ask any programmer or any, I suppose, like programmer that makes money. Like low code is just a huge pain to work with. We'll find low code easier to decipher because the workflow on its own flowchart, so you can trace paths. Yeah, well, I mean that's where we start going into like spaghetti, right? So once you start getting into spaghetti, it's like, yeah, then you can start mapping it out. Or you could just design your code well in the first place, right? So you pre-plan your code, either using a, you know, like a, I prefer essays personally, right? So this is pretty easy for me to decipher, right? So you just go under each heading and then that's what the heading refers to. Or you can have a flowchart, whatever. I think that's called a UML diagram. And then you write your code according to the UML diagram and then make sure that your UML diagram stays in sync, right? And then if your UML diagram ever starts to look like spaghetti, then you need to rethink your implementation. It looks kind of hard to decipher. Well, the first thing about programming is that programming has very little to do with math. Programming is mostly just like reading. So if you can read an essay or you can read a book very quickly, then you'll probably be like a decent programmer, right? Like I've described this before. Like when I read these functions, I don't actually read the entire function. I read the first part of it. I read the last part of it. And then after that, then I just kind of skim. And that's why I also add these spaces in between all my blocks of code, right? Because everything that's related to each other is logically grouped. So, right, so I read this, like, oh, okay, this is my subscribe stuff. All right, so I don't need to read this. You know, I read this. This is my camera stuff. I don't need to read the rest of this, right? You know, I see this. This is my OpenSea face stuff. I don't need to read the rest of it. Right, so it's just like being able to read. Being able to read and read quickly and make assumptions about what you're looking at. Right. Thing is, it's a little like reading a story out of order sometimes. Like, oh, I made this here and it defines it. Yeah, exactly. Right. There are two types of people in the world, right? You know, those who are able to, you know, infer from incomplete information. Yeah, and that's I find myself in the former, right, rather than the latter. Okay, 1 sec. Gotta think. So I think if we go into assets, I should still have my default. Okay, so I do still have my default ENV, and I do export it, so I can just do this instead. So no more environment. We'll just load this directly. That's fine. That's my default ENV. Oh, hello, good news stuff. It's a mistake to think everyone can code, while just about anyone can do 10 print hello. Well, not everyone can understand MP completeness and even, let's say, heuristics needed to solve such problems. That's true. That's not what I'm saying, though. Right? I laid out basically 2 requirements for being able to program. Like, I probably could not solve NP completeness either. Like, I know just enough to be able to, you know, I think my logic is pretty solid, right? Like, 1, are you able to read and write an essay in English? Which is probably one of the harder bits, is because I did specify English. Most programming languages are based around English, or at least English notation, which is a bit unfortunate, but you know, that's how it goes. And 2 is being able to figure out information from incomplete information. There's at least information when you deal with X and you have to go find related things somewhere else before you move on. Yeah. I mean, if you haven't noticed, I kind of just jump from thing to thing. The only reason why I ever remember what the heck I'm working on is because I keep as many things on screen that are relevant as possible. So sometimes I'll like finish talking about it, and I'll be like, what the heck was I working on again? And I'll click through. I'm like, oh yeah, it was the thing that was already open. I was just looking at this thing for whatever reason, which is not relevant whatsoever. You know? Just learning English. Sure, English is pretty good, I think. It's good enough. Your grammar is pretty good, I think. Compared to native English speakers, I should say. I'll say, if we made a programming language that requires programmers to write English, we would discover that most programmers can't write English. This is true. I think most people are very bad at English. You know, I think if you ask your average American, you know, the difference between they, and they, or they're not they, and they, they're, there, and there, I think about half of them could not tell you. Or, you know, what's the difference between it's and its? The amount of times that I see people mess up it's and its, like, it used to bother me, but at this point I'm just, man, I have other things to worry about in my life. They is a pronoun. Yeah, sorry, I made a mistake. I'm way less good at way less proficient, I should say, at speaking English. I'm very good at writing English and reading English as well. What is this default ENV? Oh, my default ENV is a sky? Really? Am I stupid? How did I do the chroma key in this one? Ooh? This isn't chroma keyed, is it? Oh my god, is it chroma keyed? I've worked really hard to make my English close to perfect. My system for remembering it's and its. That system is that it's the way I don't like it, I just fail it, yeah. Is a possessive adjective or something like that, and its is a contraction of it is. This is correct. I want its to be the possessive because that would feel more consistent, but it is not. Yeah, that's true. I love Python. It's a great language. It reminds me of pseudocode. Well, you would love GDScript then, because GDScript is not Python, but it is very reminiscent of Python. You know, I think I wish Python had this feature. If Python had var and const, it would make me like Python a lot more. As Python stands right now, you just kind of have to assume that, like, okay, I'm not declaring a new variable, I'm using the variable. Just trust me, bro. That's something I hate about Python. Man, like, I want to know if we're declaring a variable or using a variable. Yeah. Something that actually gets me, though, in English grammar is, like, non-standard contractions. So, like, sometimes I'll write, like, I'll write gets with an apostrophe for no reason. Let me think about it, like, wait, why did I write gets with an apostrophe? What am I doing? What happens if you don't declare a variable? In Python, it creates a new variable. In GDScript, it will throw an error, which is fantastic. But in Python, it will create a new variable, which is the worst thing possible. Like, please do not create a new variable. I want you to tell me what I'm messing up. That's the entire point. Right? Like, if I didn't want the computer to tell me what I'm messing up, I'll write assembly. So you could use the wrong variable and not even use it. Yeah. Pretty much. Like, I think, isn't it, like, Python is... It's not copy on write. It's not cow. But it's, isn't it, it's like it's copy on assign. So when you assign a new variable, it copies the data. But sometimes when you assign a variable to be used in your current context, it will, if you're not careful, it will just create a new variable, and then that's how you kind of end up with bugs, because you think that you're manipulating the original piece of data, but you're actually not. Something like that. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. What I'm trying to figure out right now is how did I set my original chroma key? I remember there was a thing about this, but I don't remember how I implemented it. That's the sign of a well-structured program. I think it's in app settings. No. App settings has the transparent background. Isn't transparent background is in main screen? No. No, transparent background is an app manager. Have to love computers are always interesting in new ways to screw up, and that's true. So true. OMG, so true. Let me see. It's not an app manager. Oh no. Oh no. I don't remember where I set this. Is it in config manager? Please be in config manager. I don't have any connections here. See, I'm not even intercepting these values here, so how did I do this before? How did I do this before? Is it in... Please don't be in GUI. Please don't be in GUI. I would be very disappointed in myself. It was in GUI. Why would you put this in GUI? By the way, why is there a minion? That's one thing you got to get used to is you got the position of the is on the wrong side of the word. It's bigger than the others. That one looks like a big soap. That is a big giant soap. They're not here anymore, so we can just try this. Check this out. So pretty much any of these buttons that you can see here, they are things that you can actually pass to the custom command channel point redemption reward. And then you can apply these to your own thing. Of course, I think these only add 0.1 to your scale, right? But something that's kind of cool about that is because it's actually directly modifying the sprite scale. So we can reset the scale, right? So it's actually a giant sub. It is actually a giant sub. But we can do something like this. Where did they go? Did I accidentally kill them? Yeah. So we can turn them upside down. So if I were to, all right, we can grab JTV. We can duckify it. If we just spam this, because small and chonk actually are directly modifying the scale, you can do something like this. Small jump, look at that, beautiful. JTV, so if you were to type in small, you can make yourself infinitely small, like so. And then because you become infinitely small, it actually wraps back around to being negative scale. So how cool. And if I think if I'm very careful with how I throw you, I can also clip you through the corner. So I can kind of throw JTV out of bounds, I think. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. He's done it. JTV is now gone, never to be added back. Okay. Use transparent background. So these are all handled by my GUI. I'm not penitent. I'm not the penitent one. There will be no penance for these crimes, forsooth. Now, I said penitent one, and then as soon as I said that, I was like, oh. Have you played Blasphemous? Now that's a game. I think the gameplay, honestly, in Blasphemous kind of sucks, but the boss fights are fun. The art, 10 out of 10. Probably the best pixel art I've ever seen in a game, outside of Contra. Well, not Contra. What's it called? What's the? It's not Contra. Bullet. What's the thing I'm thinking of? It's like Contra. It's like Contra, but it's not Contra. Metal Slug! Metal Slug, yes! Like Metal Slug, 10 out of 10. Probably the best pixel art, but Blasphemous. Blasphemous. Yeah, there we go. You can see that Google is listening to me speak. Now that's... Blasphemous is also a very good looking game. Look at that. It's beautiful. I mean, this boss is not that beautiful. But some of the other ones are pretty good. But I think Metal Slug is definitely the best pixel art I've seen in pretty much any game. Like, pick Metal Slug. We're ranking them. I'll probably put Metal Slug number 1. Blasphemous number 2. And then Giant Horse Death Ball number 3. Made by yours truly. Let me see. I guess I should probably post that, because not everyone is aware that I actually make games. Headphone warning, by the way. Alright, so now that we're done talking, all right. So this is interesting. This is interesting. So how do I how do I do this? How do I do this? That's actually kind of tough. That's actually kind of, because we're listening to these values, which is fair, but then like use fxaa is a model config thing. Penitent, it's not penitent, penitent. It's not bones. What am I looking at bones? It's, oh, this is a metadata thing, isn't it? It is. Use transparent background. So I need to listen for these things, I suppose. So use transparent background. But then when you use transparent background, what happens? Huh. Because I don't think there's anything in there that explicitly tells it to green screen it, I suppose. Or is it because when I turn off, I'm looking at this line right here, right? This is one of the few times where I actually, whenever I get confused, instead of just reading the function header, I read through every single line. Something doesn't seem right here. How am I setting the green screen? Because you might notice that this thing is green screen, and then this one is also green screen. I know this one is green screened because it's just a big green rectangle that's stretched out. This one's a bit different. So I wonder. Transparent background. And the fxaa also needs to be there. These are all things that we need to listen for. But we're also subscribing to this. And then we need to listen for these things. I'm thinking. That's tough. Like it's not hard, right? It's not hard for sure, right? Because we have the value and we have the signal name, and we just match all in the signal name, right? And then if it's fxaa, then we'll just do something like project settings, set settings, and we'll just, set these things directly, just like that. Copy and paste, really. Like, that's not hard. And then get viewports, fxaa, get viewports. But I'm trying to remember, how did I set the green screen? So these are all things I should be setting like this. These settings aren't even exposed anyways. Or is it because, oh no. Oh no. Wait a minute. World environment, main environment uppercase. Hold on. Main environment uppercase. Oh, I see. So that's how it's set. But then if you don't have a transparent background, what happened? Huh? Default env. What? What happened? Why are they different? All right, well, anyways, I'm just gonna copy and paste this into here. It should be more correct. Then we'll go into here. Default runner. Yeah, there we go. He's done it. He's done it. I don't know what happened to the resource. Maybe I just... I have no idea what I did. Something happened, for sure. Definitely a thing happened, but now I guess we're okay. Yeah, I mean, if you look here and here, these look about the same, except now, instead of having this butt ugly UI, now you have this very, very refined, very fancy UI where you have, ooh, you know, something like this, and you can track. Let me turn off tracking here so I can track inside of the dev build. Oh baby. Go to tracking. It takes a little bit to come up because it does need to query your webcams. But then we'll start. Looking pretty good. I mean, my neck is a little broken. It's feeling a little stiff, you know what I'm saying? Feeling a little stiff. Clear that. It's not actually feeling pretty stiff, but it's because of this thing. So let's move you. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. It's pretty good. Rewritten to be 100% better. Probably it would be nice to have like a... Oh, you know what would be kind of cool? Kind of like a Windows style. Like I know my Windows installation has the sidebar. Well, actually you can't see the sidebar for whatever reason. Oh, because you can't... Now you can see the sidebar. Yeah, so now you see the sidebar, but have a Windows style like bottom bar so you can minimize these windows. Something like that. Well, it doesn't matter because then you already have the sidebar. What am I talking about? I'm losing my mind. You already have the sidebar here. Yeah. Anyways, if you close these things, it doesn't make a difference. Oh, actually, no. Tracking does make a difference. Because this one's not persistent, which is very unfortunate. But we can fix that. Yeah. So for right now, it's not so bad. I think one of the last things I need to check is to see if we go back to main menu, the face tracker should automatically turn off. I don't remember if it's going to do that though. All right, beautiful. It turned off. How nice. Yeah, I mean, I think the structure of this program is already a lot better than it used to be. So we go back to here. That's fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. Here, like add a sidebar, then a bottom bar, then a top bar, then another sidebar. A pop-up. Hey, I actually really like pop-ups. Well, if you think about it, isn't everything on a computer just a pop-up? Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about this? Look at this. So you could just have this. This is absolute garbage. You should not do that, but you could. Or you could also just ultra hide it off to the side as well. Look at this. This is actually not a built-in Godot node, because I couldn't find a way in Godot to like this used to be based off of an H-split container. This might still be using an H-split container. I haven't checked. Oh, this is using an H-split container, but it's not. It's the handle of the H-split container is hidden. Yeah. So I have implemented my own handle here, so you can still click here. Otherwise, the H-split container would not receive any input. Yeah, there's a lot of workarounds that I had to work through. I had to work through the workarounds. in order to get this to work. Yeah. But I think the UI it's not bad. Not bad. It's very unintrusive. It looks fairly professional as opposed to this, which is very dev looking. Layout button, still not popular, but we're getting around to it. We have the help. The help will just send you to the GitHub. It actually needs to be updated, so it's sending you to the correct place. Debug console needs to be integrated still, but we're getting there. About doesn't have anything in it. In-app help, not anything in it either, but that's where I plan to store all my documentation and things. You know, settings would refer to metadata stuff, but there's not too many metadata things to do just yet. And then logs, we have all the logs, etc., etc. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I think it's just a few more things I need to do before I can cut an alpha. Yeah, because like tracking works, right? I think I got the green screen stuff working as well. Ooh, okay, 13. A few errors. Resume function, but script is gone. That's weird. Gotta sneeze. Excuse me. I think the sidebar is much easier to navigate than the old UI, mostly because categorization, free screen real estate. I like, kind of like the lack of a background element in the old UI. What do you mean the lack of a background element? Do you mean like the this thing? Like this little background thingy here? I mean, I can take, yeah, I can take that out. It's not too hard to do. Oh, you know what? Something that's still missing is the light. The main light is missing. Hold on. We go to screens, GUI, default GUI. So I can actually modify that. That's not set in stone. So this is just a panel container. And then this panel container, I believe, yeah, this panel container here is actually using a custom panel. So I can actually turn that off. Oh, well, I can turn off this one. So we turn this off and then turn this off. So you could do it like this, but then it looks very weird. And then there's no grabber. So, I mean, that doesn't look very good in my opinion. Maybe you think otherwise, but I think that looks pretty bad. Which is why I leave the backgrounds on. So at least there's something to look at, you know what I'm saying? Right, so compared to, you know, no background at all to some background, I think some background at least gives you, you know, an idea where you should be clicking, you know what I'm saying? And then also because it's just a background, you can just click it really fast, you know? But anyways, either way, the background, way better than the background I had here. Or way better than the UI I had going on here. How dare your subjective opinion be different? Well, I think it's just easier to... I think it's just easier to reason about, right? Like, I think if there was no background, you'd be like, what the heck is this? Why are these buttons floating in midair? You know, say what you will about... what was what's the design philosophy called where you try to map UI elements back to real world thingamajigs? It's what Apple used to be known for. I know there's a term for it. I just can never remember it. I'm very bad at vocabulary, except when it comes to trying to speak eloquently, because that's something I actually practice for. Is, you know, trying to speak without saying like is something I use a lot though, but you know. I don't usually say or Instead of saying or I'll just use a really big word or something. But yeah. I just said skeuomorphism, yes, that is it. I think skeuomorphism, like this isn't skeuomorphism because it doesn't map back to anything real. But I think if you didn't have the background here, you would just be kind of confused as to why there were just a bunch of buttons floating in midair, you know? I think it goes for a lot of these things, right? So, and then if I didn't want to have any buttons floating in midair, then I would need to have like another bar of buttons, maybe. I said like again. That's something that is very difficult to get rid of. Having the wherewithal to not use filler words like that. In that instance, it was impossible to avoid using like. But you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so if I took out the background here, you would be very confused by why there are just buttons floating in midair. But because you are a modern human being who is familiar with the concept of a top bar and a sidebar, when you see the sidebar here, you're like, oh, okay, you know, this sidebar is where my options are. And then this top bar is where my, you know, my menu stuff is. Right? It's a very familiar UI layout, which is what I'm going for. Whereas this one is, I think this one is very functional, but exposes a bit too much information to the user. I mean, what is the function of a button? You click it to make something happen. If it floats in the air, you know their purpose is to click them in order to do a thing. Yeah, but I think it's just more... I mean, we can go back to it, right? So if I were to turn off those backgrounds, you know, like, what do you think about that, you know? I think it just looks kind of awkward. And you might be thinking, like, is there a way for me to, like, click somewhere? Can I click somewhere to make these buttons go away? You know? Like, is there, like, a menu? Does clicking one of these menu options make this list retract up to the top? Whereas if you just had the background, then you know that's built into the UI. Like, that's just intuitive. And then also, I believe that this doesn't work. So you can move the model like this, but if you click onto here, then you can't move it anymore because of how the UI kind of captures your inputs. But I guess that's something that I can fix. Either way. Yeah, that's my reasoning, is that if you just see like a list of buttons, I'm using my hands in real life now. If you see a list of buttons floating in midair, then you would assume that there's a button somewhere that allows you to retract that list of buttons, right? Whereas if you have a solid block, then you know that, you know, there's nothing you can do about the solid block. The solid block is going to stay there. You know, you need to give the duck hands for you to gesture with. Well, once I get around to implementing GDMP, GitHub. This is not it. GDMP. I have it forked. But GDMP, media pipe. GDMP. There we go. There's GDMP. Oh, I suppose I should be looking at the master repository. Look at this. So these are Godot bindings to media pipe. So if you are familiar with Kaleidoface, how do you say it? Kaleidoface. Kaleidoface. Yes. Oh, don't actually run it. But Kaleidoface, I can give you a Kaleidoface. Yeah, Kaleidoface. So, I mean, if you want to use, like, you know, model tracking in your browser, then that's a good option for you, except that Kaleidoface the JavaScript version doesn't give you iris tracking, which is one of the cool things about these desktop options, right? So this one has iris tracking. So just gotta wiggle my head a little bit. So you get nice iris tracking for free, but KalitoFace uses MediaPipe. GDMP is MediaPipe bound to Godot. So that's next on my list to implement. That's actually one of the few reasons why I'm trying to really crank this out as well. Is once I get this rewrite done, OpenCFace, that's pretty much all said and done. And then I can start integrating MediaPipe, which will give me, and then this is MediaPipe C++ as well, right? So MediaPipe C++ gives you head tracking, iris tracking, which JavaScript does not, JavaScript, I should say. It also gives you hand tracking for free. Oh, baby. So like this model, I can start working on tracking hand stuff just using a regular webcam, right? And then what else does it give you? I guess that's it, right? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's the plan. We get this application out the door whenever, and then MediaPipe. Oh, baby. Yeah. Let's go ahead and send it, because this is pretty close. I just need more time. I need more time, but I'm also trying to get this done in time for the Godot 2022 show reel. What am I doing? Git restore. Save model position and pose. What else did I change? Add back green screen. Okay, that took a little bit. My anti-background logic. I feel like UI should obscure as little as possible in an application that isn't. I feel like a UI should obscure as little as possible in an application about setting a visual that isn't the UI. And that's fair. Counterpoints. You can hide the UI. You can hide the UI like this. So like when you need information, then you have the information. If you don't want the information, you can, I guess, do the Mac thing where you just kind of shift all your windows off. Something like that. I think that makes sense. But when you need information, then it's preferable that you have as much information on screen as possible. And also something that's kind of cool, right? With the pop-up thing is that unlike this application where you can only see one set of information at any one time, right? Now you can, I want to look at my chest bone and also my collarbone at the same time for whatever reason. Or I want to look at my tracking data all at the same time along with my my model stuff, and I also want to be able to see my other model stuff. So if you want information overload, you can have information overload. That's none of my concern. That's where my head's at, is that this makes the most sense. So if you need to configure something, you can configure it, and then you can hide the UI as soon as possible. The info you're changing is about changing the visual, so the easier not to block it, the better. Well, yeah, but a lot of these things don't really have to do with the visual all that much. And then even then, it's just a single click away. So, well, it's not even a click, right? It's a button press. So you just hide the entire UI, right? And then you can actually, just like this one, you can keep tracking while you have the UI visible as well. But the benefit here is that this one you need to, click two different things if you want to change, if you want to change bones, but then you also want to change tracking information here, then you need to click, 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 click between the two things. Whereas this one, you know, just got to get creative with how you do your windows, and then you still have this tracking in the background, but then you still have all the information that you need available here, like that, right? And then if you don't want the UI at all, you know, you just turn off the UI, right? And then also check this out. I've showed this off before on stream, but it is, if you want to be able to change things in your UI, or if you want to change things that you're currently tracking, right? So you want to change all these things, whatever, but you're currently streaming, then I'm planning on integrating this. I wrote this, by the way, Spout GD. I didn't write Spout, but I wrote the integration into Godot. So I can just send this image to OBS, assuming that you're using OBS, or you're using a Spout compatible broadcast software, right? So even though you might have the UI up, OBS will still just receive this image here, right? So actually, you could have this entire thing just covered up, but as long as you have your OBS preview window up, you could just look at your OBS preview window, and then you know what you're changing, or you know the result of what you're changing, right? Using Spout here. And this is like really bringing into this is really making me think like, man, I've wrote a lot of things just to support this one application, didn't I? That's crazy. Like I also wrote like OBS WebSocket kind of for the same functionality, right? Is so that you can also control OBS from this application as well if you wanted to. Oh, hello, Bumsy. Hello, how are you? This app is now your magnum opus. Yeah, what a shame. Imagine wanting to be a game developer and then accidentally just becoming a VTuber render developer instead. The worst timeline. I'm good, I was lurking. You were lurking, but you are now Bumd. Glad to see that you've changed back to normal. Yeah, I think if you are interested in whatever the heck I'm working on, I guess the rest of the lurkers out there, here's a link. Everything is free and open source. This should fail. Yeah, the Docker test should be failing because OpenC face stuff. Yeah, the OpenC face stuff is absolutely borked. Oh no. Just kill it. I had an idea for you, but probably would sound like a stretch. Yeah, sure. I mean, what is the idea? OpenC face. Let me see if I can fix this really quick. So we'll do. Oh, that's not how you do it. Does this solve it? And then this is fine. So we just pretty much never have any more static typing for any of these extension items, but that's probably okay. So we run all. Please, OpenC face data. No. Okay, so we can kind of cheat. Oh yeah, we can 100% cheat. So grab this, OpenC face data. Take this out. Yeah, so you kind of have to just do that. Just kind of hope it's okay. Oh, then you can't infer the type. Oh, good. Imagine clicking any UI element and you make a copy of it in a separate window so you can like copy and paste custom toolbars. Don't think it'll require much work. Yeah. Clicking any UI element, you make a copy of it in a separate window so you can copy and paste custom toolbars. What? Imagine clicking any UI element. So in this application, imagine clicking any UI element, make a copy of it, and you copy it to a new custom window so you can create like a custom toolbar. I guess that'll work. It would have to, I would assume it would work in the same way as the, like there's the Godot plugin, right? So you can click on any Godot UI elements and then you can see its like node path. I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, you control alt click to move model. It will duplicate. Yeah. You control alt click move model, whatever, and then it duplicates it to another window. Yeah. So you basically like a quick access. Yeah. Quick, so append your elements or quick access. Yeah. I'll have to think about that. It would work in the same way as the, oh no. It would work in the same way as the editor plugin for Godot that allows you to click on any editor UI elements and then you can find the path to them. So it stands to reason that if you can find the path to an element, you can also copy that element entirely. But the problem with that, is that these elements are not standalone. These elements are controlled by the element window. Right, and then the element window is controlled by the GUI. So I kind of have, well, actually, no. In this current iteration of it, each element is actually its own kind of source of truth. And then it shares its source of truth with the other config stuff. You can pass the element around though. Yeah, but the logic isn't stored in the element. What if you port your program to Android? I'm not sure how that would work, but I guess it could. I have no interest in the mobile though. Yeah, but the problem is that each element is controlled by its window. Each element does not control itself. So move model, this signal is actually caught by the model window. So I would need to think about that. I think what I could do, so my idea is like this. I still need to implement it. So what if I do like, it's like a lazy load. Basically, like instead of loading all these windows, instead of eagerly loading each window, right? So instead of like loading each window on demand, instead, the current implementation is I build each window when I click on it. But then once you close the window, instead of deleting the entire element, it just gets hidden and then it gets cached. So it's not visible on screen. And I think that will work. Right, so it caches each element so that you still have the original binding to the window. And then we'll just have to think about how to do that on like a cold start. Very few VTuber apps on Android, so that we one of the first ones. Isn't like there's a few big ones though on Android, and then also if you're on Android, you would, or like iPhone, you would prefer to use the device's built-in tracking thing as well, right? As opposed to OpenCFace or whatnot. What if UI needs update for some reason? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think even like this UI is supposed to be kind of a stopgap until I finish my GDML implementation. So you can try connecting it to OBS. I know that on Android, you can stream directly from your Android device. I suppose I should be showing this off using whatever I have right now, right? So start tracking like that. Look at that. So we're currently working. Everything more or less just works as usual. I mean, this looks pretty good, I think, right? Try adding more background colors like pink, blue, or transparent. There is transparency. So this app supports transparent. You can't use Apex AA at the same time, but it does support transparency like that. Have you tried GDMP? What do you mean? I was showing off GDMP. Isn't the reason why you know about GDMP because I told you about GDMP? I feel like I tell people about a lot of stuff, and then people forget that I tell them about it, and then they come back to me like, "Hey, have you heard about this one thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm the one that told you about it." But yes, GDMP is next on my list. Get that money, pimp. Yeah. I have not built it, but it looks like it should work. I've not built it, but it looks like it should work. I think the hardest part about GDMP is that you don't get GPU acceleration on Windows, but I think that should be okay. I think that should be okay. Should be okay. Turn this off. Have you heard about Godot? It's a nice game engine. Oh, really? Tell me more. Yeah. Tell me more. I've just been trying to, I've just been staring at my computer screen very hard and hoping the computer knows what I want it to do. So far, it's been working out pretty well, but I think if I have a bit more control, like maybe using a game engine, that would really help me in making this application. All I know is to pronounce Godot. All right, enjoy your 24-hour ban permanently. Should be right because it's official binary. GDMP is not official. It's someone's thing. I know that J2000 1970 is some sort of university students, or maybe they're a researcher. So that I have talked with them before, and I have shown this on stream before as well. Windows support, that's me, baby. That's me. So the only hard part is that they don't officially support Windows, although in their media pipe setup diff, it looks like it should just build anyways for both platforms. Because it looks like it should just generate a DLL and SO file. So it should be fine, I think. Maybe. If not, I can just go back through the commit history and we'll find it. But yeah, GDMP, which is Godot Media Pipe, will give me access to eye tracking, regular tracking, hand tracking, all that good stuff. But yeah, anyways, I think I've pushed everything I needed to, except for, oh, you know what? This is what I was working on. Give me one sec. How was I doing this with OpenCFace? Also, let's kill this application here. So if I kill it from the editor, I think that calls like the system kill, and it actually calls kill on it, so it does not terminate the application. It just forces it to the stop immediately, which is not what you want. What you want to do is terminate the application, which then causes the application to cascade its kill command to all its child processes, which in this case would be the face tracker, which is what we want. So another reason why you should not be calling kill on any process. All right, let's fix this. Why are these kind of scuffed? I think, yeah, I can just replace these with D. Yeah, because these are just constants. Yeah, and then we'll just do this stuff. Anything that has to do with OpenCFace new, we can just replace. Oh, and then we can't. infer the type. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, then we can't infer any type. That's that's great. I love that. But I get it. I get it. All I want is for my test to pass. Please pass. All right. Go back to gut. Run all. Ooh, let's go. All green once again. We'll push this. Fix tests. Git add all. Git commit. Fix OpenCFace tests. I do like how I'm just pushing all of these to master, but that's because I'm pretty much the only one who's working on this right now. So that's fine. Yeah, that's gonna be it for me for today. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be live tomorrow from what is tomorrow? I'll be live from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern time, working on this again, trying to push it out the door, and also hopefully get a show reel going for the Godot show reel 2020 or 2022. Because they are now explicitly allowing for applications, and I think that this is not bad. This is not bad. Yeah, but if you haven't given the channel a follow already, I'll encourage you to do so. I stream Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, and on Wednesdays from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern time. Here's a link to the project if you want to grab that. Goldmaster incoming, gotta ship it. Were you selected for the show reel? The show reel submissions ends June 30th, I think. Or actually, is it May? Did they... Hold on. When did the Godot 2022 show reel... When did those... Did I miss it? Am I dumb? No. Submissions closed July 1st, so I have time. I have about 1 month to finish up. So that's not bad. That's not bad. And it only needs to be like 15 seconds. So even like whatever I have right now would be okay, but I would really not rather show that off. Pretty sure I get a spot. Oh yeah, especially for tools. I think like this application as like a tool, I think it looks pretty good. Many apps also. Yeah, there's not too many apps as well. I mean, there are some really good apps though. But this is the only one of its kind, I think. At least for a Godot. Yeah. Give the channel follow on already. I already did that. Discord, I guess. My bot's back. Oh, baby. The container finally restarted. Get a few good-looking models. Are you saying that this model, which is essentially naked, is not good enough for you? Yeah, join the Discord if you want to chat or whatnot. Give me stars on GitHub. That's really all I'm in it for, baby. Yeah, let's see who else is. Let's see who's streaming right now. Is anyone doing Godot stuff? Let me see. That's my Discord. Let's get out of here on my other screen. So, looks like someone's doing game dev. Okay. You're doing game dev. Who else is doing game dev? Let's see if we can find someone. Godot. Engine. There's Jitspo. They're doing Blender stuff. Spy Mort. Someone's doing a tutorial. And then someone is just playing a game, I guess. Alright, let's raid Wyatt. Let's raid Wyatt. Alright. Get ready to get sent. Yeah. Wyatt's doing Godot stuff, I guess. Yeah, very, very descriptive stream title. Pixel VTuber making something in Godot. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.